Yeah. Hi. Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing today?
Great.
Joining us. Please come on in. You know what to do. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Thanks for joining the chat, Unscripted, Unfiltered, and Uncut. Come
That's
on
right.
in. Let us begin. So, guys, how was your weekend? And now your Monday, third quarter of the month. We have new goals set. I mean, not third quarter of the month.
I was gonna say, oh, is it?
I was like, man, it's day 4.
That was a long nap. Okay.
Here. I'm all wrong. Sorry. Be sure to let people know that you are here. We want to acknowledge you.
Yes, yes.
I heard some feedback.
Feedback?
Yeah, through feedback.
Yeah.
Really?
Of course.
I think it's gone. Yeah, you sound wonderful. Yeah, it's gone.
Thank you.
So everybody had a good weekend. I went to Busch Coaster. It's the world's fastest roller coaster. And it is worth the drive. It was nice. It was really good. And we sat the second car from the back. So half of the ride, I was off my seat. I was like, oh my God. I think we're talking about the young guy who fell off the ride. So of course that was in my mind the whole time. So I'm the type of person I keep my eyes closed. Justin's yelling and screaming right next to me, but my eyes are closed. And I'm praying and I'm confessing my sins for everything I did in my life, just in case anything happened. But most of the time I'm off the seat, and I was like, oh God, please don't let us fall. Don't let us fall. But it was good. It was really good. It was fast. It was everything the hype was.
Oh,
Is it one of the coasters with your feet are dangling or no?
Yeah, your feet are dangling. They drop.
Oh Lord.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love roller coasters.
When you back up, and there's like a straight up thing that you go up, and then it's just a whole bunch. But it was nice. And I think go up to 95 miles per hour.
Yeah, I like roller coasters, but you couldn't pay me to close my eyes.
Really?
I'm telling you, man. I know you were praying, but you got to keep your eyes open because
you gotta experience
closing
the
your
whole
eyes,
thing.
you
gotta experience and see it all. Like
you can't tell where you're going, man.
That's close to what do you call it? Not skydiving, but when you're on the rope and you're going
bungee jumping,
zip lining.
Okay.
Like if you're that far up in the air, like I need to see. I need to see everything that's going on up there. That far.
I just need to know.
I'll take your word for it.
But I had a good weekend, played some golf with the fellas.
Oh, that's nice.
Spent some time away from the baby. So yeah, I had a good weekend.
That's good.
That's good. Me too. I can't complain. A little R&R and a little bit of work.
Okay. Nice balance. That's my whole thing right now. I need balance. This is my first weekend I took off the whole year, unless it was like for a funeral or something. But I took this whole weekend off for myself because I needed it.
Good for you.
Yeah. That's good.
What about you, Tamika? What did you do?
I actually helped out a friend this weekend, and then I kind of did this. Then yesterday, I just kind of like helped out. Stayed around the house. Walter and I went and grabbed dinner, and then I came back home. I was just kind of like chilling out, and then just working on this a project that I'm trying to get going. So I'm working on that, and I'm really excited about it. I really got excited about it today. as I was like putting it together and getting my thoughts together for it. I'm really excited about it. So yeah, that's what I did. But I mean, you know, I'm always at the quiet time and, you know, really processing my thoughts and really watching how God is working in my life and just showing up on things and areas that I have put off. So anyway, that's where I'm at with that. Oh yeah, because she's asking you that. I mean, because her husband golfs a lot, and then she golfs too. So,
yeah, I didn't even keep score. I'm not good. My friends, basically, what happened is I just asked some of my friends, like, y'all ever consider going golfing? And then apparently, I opened up, you know, a hornet's nest of golf enthusiasts in my friends. I guess they just figured I wasn't too interested, but they had old clubs for me. They brought me out. You know, that was like my third time out with them, and you know, they're teaching me the ropes. So as long they just said, "Oh, you hit the ball straight, good job." You know what I mean? Like I wasn't keeping score.
Is it fun?
Yeah. It's
It
like
is. Okay.
you get out there in a good day. You know, I mean, it's a lot of frustration that you get to kind of smack out of this.
Oh,
you know, it's definitely fun. Not so labor intensive like basketball or something.
yeah,
you know?
right.
Well, what I want to know is, did you dress the part?
No.
Nope. I came out with some sweatpants.
Oh my God.
You know, you don't have to go all out. I mean, you know, I will eventually because some of the golf clothes look nice, honestly.
Well, all right. Well, let's go ahead and get on into our topics because we do have some very. I think that our conversations might be a little serious this weekend because there's been a lot of things that has happened in the news and our local news, as well as outside the area news. I don't know, public news, national news. I guess I should say. So one thing that we were okay. Anyway, I just read that. Oh, okay, I'll be standing by. Please continue to share. But last week we left off and we were talking about the young boy who died at the amusement park. He fell out of the ride. And Will was just telling us how he went to Busch Gardens this weekend and he kept his eyes closed on the ride. And he wanted to experience the ride, but he didn't really want to see what was happening way up when he was in the ride.
And I wanted to get on the ride that he got on because Busch Gardens has that. But Justin, I was fine on getting on it, but Justin didn't want to get on it. So we've done it before.
So there's been a lot going on. It was a young lady who came out who said her name was Shay Johnson, and she was saying that she was the cousin of the family, and she was had a cash app and things going and was taking up money and things like this. And then the family came out and said that she was not kin to them. And they said that, so when they were interviewing people who went out there and went to the vigil and whatever she was doing out at the park, they were they said that she was fine, but as soon as the cameras came on, she went full blast into action and started crying and doing all this stuff. So if you are ever thinking, or if you are thinking to give to the family, please make sure you are verifying who these people are that are anybody, any family. Make sure you're verifying who these people are that are collecting funds for the family, because everybody is not always who they say they are. And it is very, very sad. So my condolences do go out to the family. But in the midst of all that, they were saying that he had tried to get on 2 rides before that and he was denied. And he went to that ride and got on that ride. And then in midair, when he realized he was out of it, he told the person next to him, please tell his family he loved him. But how do you think the parents, like the family, is going to, like, do you think it's going, I know it's going to be a lawsuit, but do you think that they're going to say something, that music part say something about him, like being denied other rides, or just it's going to all be on the park?
I'm sure they're going to use everything. Everything is going to probably come out. But the bottom line, I think, is, so was it ever confirmed whether he was secure? Because I know they interviewed the people who built the ride, and they said it's not supposed to go up if everybody is not locked in. There's some type of mechanism that will let them know if one of them is not locked.
Right.
So
I do know that the ride attendants did confirm, or they verified, that all the lights were green. I mean, and that corroborates the makers of the ride. It says that there's this safety mechanism that it won't even go up if one of the seats are not locked. So that's that. I think the whole the gist of it is his weight and his size most likely broke it.
Because it had a weight capacity, right? Wasn't it like 250, 270 or something like that? The weight capacity of that ride.
Per seat?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Usually rides, from what I was experiencing, they have the height thing when you're walking up to it, and they probably do have a weight limit on it. But I'm imagining that if there is any type of a defense or whatever they're going to use, is the fact that maybe the attendants weren't as attentive to visually noticing that the guy, should have been weighed or whatever.
Because he clearly didn't fit in the seat.
But it locked. So it locked enough for the operator to go up, but then perhaps the weight did play a part in it, and somehow the pressure coming down or whatever made it come loose.
I think that's what
to drop.
Yeah,
I thought that when rides are like that, like don't they come by and like make sure it's locked? Like I've been on rides when they come
do.
Back and make sure that everybody's locked in and it's locked.
And they press down on you. They usually press down on you.
Mm-hmm. Well, some of the rides require you for them to push it in order for it to lock. So, like we said, the lights don't. It doesn't look like that ride required it. And I remember, unfortunately, I watched the video. And they were talking to people, and everyone was seeming fine. And he was on the other side, and they said everything was good. And when he fell, they're like, "Well, did you check?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, everything was good. Everything was fine." I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know what I would do if I was that attendant, because in my opinion, he's liable. But he's only liable as much as whatever the contract says, right? Like they can't. At the end of the day, if you agreed to get on the ride, I think they kind of, as far as I understand, parks always have some kind of fine line. Like, you know what I mean? They're not responsible for your stuff. And, in my opinion, they're also not responsible for your life in a lot of those fine print cases. Yeah. I think they'll find a way to get past that one, unfortunately for the family.
Now, the thing about this, I remember last year we went to Orlando for my birthday. This was not like a big amusement park like Busch Gardens. This was like one of those side things on the side of the street. They have a lot of things in Orlando where they have like a mini, how they used to have like roadside things people will set up. This was one of those things. And we saw one actually when they were building this thing. And it wasn't going to be open until this year. But so it's not like a big, I'm pretty sure it's like privately owned. It's not like by Busch Gardens or anything like that.
But it's funny because we went to Orlando one year and we went to the Universal Studios, and it was a ride that me and Asia had gotten on, and they had the seat like on the outside of the ride, so you could sit in it and make sure your height requirement was okay, and I guess maybe just to see if you were comfortable. But anyway, I went in and I got in on the ride, and I was like, listen, and and I thought it was gonna be okay, and the guy kept pushing it, and like it locked, and I was like trying to breathe, and I was like, yo, like listen, I was like, I can't, because I'm just uncomfortable. Like I was just uncomfortable, and I felt like I was gasping for air. I was like, dude, like no, like, and they were like, you sure it's fine? I'm like, nah, y'all come back around here, and I'll be dead, because I'm trying to. With all the wind coming in my face, and I'm still trying to gas, and then one of my ribs broke. I just can't imagine that he was comfortable, and it almost makes me wonder. Maybe I hate to say that, but like what? How? Let me just stop at that. How comfortable it was for him.
I don't think it was uncomfortable. Like I don't think he was hurting while in the seat. I just felt like he didn't feel like he was in the seat. Like you know, you ever sit in a chair where sometimes you feel like the chair eats you up, and then sometimes you're sitting on top of the chair. It's like, I don't feel like he felt encased. I think he may have felt, you know, like he wasn't in the seat. He was just like there.
Right.
But you know, I don't. This may not go over well with a lot of people, but I'm just going to say this. I truly feel like this is an example of how a lot of people are, I would say, oblivious to weight and size, you know, issues. I am that person, and not only am I a tall person, I used to be almost 200 pounds heavier.
Mhm.
So when I would have seen issues with even taking him to an amusement park because I lived that life. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I have a daughter who is plus size. She has a friend who is 5'3" and 99 pounds. And they was like, hey, you want to go to Busch Gardens? I said, you're not going to Busch Gardens. What you going to do? Watch all them rides? Like, I mean, you know, we're not going to do that.
For some reason, you're blanking out when you're going in and out. Like, I don't understand. I can't hear what you're saying.
Do everybody else hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. So let me see if I can address something. But what I'm saying is, and I don't know if anybody understands what I'm saying. So because I live that life, like I told my daughter, no, you gonna sit Busch Gardens out. You know, primarily because I didn't want her to feel any kind of way if she had any ride issues, you know, and lo and behold, I didn't want an issue where she was trying to get on a ride that she shouldn't have been on. And I just felt like amusement park, unless you the dad and you taking your children and you watching them, and he's 14, so he wants to have fun. He's a kid.
Yeah.
But I just wouldn't have taken him to a place where he couldn't enjoy himself at his age group because he would be excluded.
Yeah. And he was excluded because they said that they didn't let him on several rides. Then he gets to that one and they say, yeah, sure, you can ride. And I mean, you know, I think everyone does think about height first. Oh, like, you know, if you're this tall, you know, everyone thinks about that. But most people aren't really thinking about the weight. And I mean, because honestly, they don't have scales. And honestly, America has a weight problem. So, you know, a lot of people are probably close to the weight that limit that you shouldn't have on that ride. But I think he was also very a large person because there's weight and then there's large, right? I mean,
he was 6'4" and 350 pounds.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, if I see a linebacker getting onto, you know, a full-on linebacker, I'm like, dang. And honestly, it just overall sad because I'm sure he didn't think he was going to lose his life. But also, at 14 years old, you're not thinking about all that. You think you're invincible. You know, like, oh, it's all good. You know, I fit in it. See, mom, I'm in there.
And look at the friends next to him.
Judgment. Yeah,
they were average size. I mean, and below average for one of them, if you ask me.
Right.
But I just, as an adult person who lived that life, I would have been able to pick up on the fact that probably wasn't the best outing.
I think honestly, for that kind of ride, I didn't realize that they don't put seatbelts on it. I know that they have the shoulder restraints and you're going up, so it's supposed to stop you from going up. But when that brake hits, you know, all the force is transferred.
Right.
That's exactly what I said. And I felt like when that ride slowed down or it like came to that pause halfway, I think the force, 350 pounds, 6'4", popped that harness.
Yeah.
It's sad, but rest his soul.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Okay, so just keep on commenting. I know that it's like a little bit of a delay, but just keep on commenting if you have something to add to
the conversation. Yeah.
But, all right. Go ahead, guys. Let's go.
What's going on?
Yeah,
okay, I'm gonna do my topic that I've been trying to do forever.
Okay, go ahead.
So Dolly Parton, everybody know who Big Boob Dolly Parton is, right? So, by the way, she closed the ride in her amusement park. She has the same ride made by the same manufacturer. and she closed it on her part. Dolly, is it Dollywood or Dolly World? I think it's
Dollywood. It's Dollywood.
Yeah, she closed it. Okay, so Dolly Parton, she credits her long-term success to this 6-word piece of advice from her mom. So Dolly Parton said when she was young, her mother gave her the most valuable piece of advice. She says, always keep something back for yourself. These 6 words have helped shape the 76-year-old country music superstar into 6 decades of show business. This phrase, which applies equally to business and work-life balance, essentially means to give to others, but meet your own financial and emotional needs first. She said, you can't give what you got. You can give what you got away, but don't give it all away. She said, I pray also that God will, give me enough to share and enough to spare when it comes to my money, but also to myself. Let me share everything I can, but let me keep some for myself too. So that was the best piece of advice she's ever received. So I want to know from you guys, what is the best piece of advice you've gotten over your lifetime? And then how has it helped you as a person?
Well,
you want me to start? Or do y'all need time to think?
Yeah, I do. Go ahead.
Only been a month. Huh?
I said you can start, but I know.
Okay. All right. So I used to have this big issue. I think Tanisha and I sometimes.
What's my name?
Tanisha. I call you Tanisha.
Yes.
Hold on, write that off. That's not her name. Is not Tanisha. Shanika. Oh, Tanisha. Okay, so Shanika and I, in one of our little side conversations, we're talking about, especially with clients, how difficult it is with clients, communication, whatever. So, long story short, I've always had a problem with wanting to be liked, wanting to be fit in, wanting to be invited, wanting to be. I don't know what it was. I just felt like I needed to be validated by other people. It would hurt my feelings. And it almost crept back in, Chanel, a couple of weeks ago when you said you went to that networking event. And I was like, oh, you didn't call me? You said I was thinking about people to call. It didn't go there. But whatever that thing that gets up in your spirit almost got there. But I said, oh no. No, you got a lot of things on your mind. It's not that you had anything against them. You just didn't think about it. So anyway, I was watching TV probably about 2 years ago, and T.D. Jakes came on, and he gave this sermon called "Let It Go." So this is from it.
Don't you take my advice,
girl? That has helped me so much, though.
Don't you take my advice?
This is your advice.
Can you say it so I can? Come on, say
I'm
it.
saying, okay, so T.D. Jakes, this is an excerpt from his thing. He said, "There are people who can walk away from you, and hear me when I tell you this. When people can walk away from you, let them walk. I don't want you to try to talk another person into staying with you, loving you, calling you, caring about you, coming to see about you, staying attached to you." He said, hang up the phone. When people can walk away from you, let them walk. Your destiny is never tied to anybody that left. And it doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It just means that their part in the story is over. And you've got to know when people's part in your story is over so that you don't try to keep raising the dead. Yep. So that has helped me. It used to really hurt me, like when clients would leave and I would be like, well, where are they at? What did I do wrong? What could I have done better? Should I text them? Should I call them? Child, no, they're just gone. I thank you for the business you gave me. As a matter of fact, I went to the orthopedic doctor a couple of weeks ago and I walked out. I wasn't even paying attention. I was on my phone, but the client that I used to do that disappeared saw me, like she saw got caught with, what is it to say, a deer in headlights or something. I was like, bro, no need for all that. You just say hi, keep it stepping, because I didn't want to, hi, how you doing? I didn't say nothing about her hair. Her hair was done. She's evidently going somewhere else. That would have tore my day up. But I was just like, okay, I appreciate the fact she was with me a couple of years. Some people just want change. Sometimes I just want change. So that piece of advice, and that relationships, friendships, anything, your destiny is never tied to anybody who chooses to lose, who chooses to leave. And that's, to me, the best piece of advice I've ever gotten.
That's wonderful. Can I go next since I have the same person?
Mm-hmm.
So about 4 years ago, I went through a really bad breakup. And what I learned through that breakup is that I didn't handle rejection well. And it was something that was life, like probably some old childhood stuff that kind of, was triggered or whatever. So I bought the book, Let It Go,
Mhm.
in 2018 by T.D. Jakes.
Mhm.
And it changed my life.
Mhm.
And the part that changed my life is when he talked about offenses and how you as an individual perceive offenses or what you think is an offense toward you.
Mhm.
So basically what I learned was, unless somebody blatantly seeks revenge on you, usually people don't do stuff to you, they do stuff for them.
Mhm.
So, and he put this example in the book, either by manslaughter or first degree murder, a death still occurs. You can acknowledge the hurt, the pain, the outcome, but you should be able to restructure your thinking and understand that most often it's not first degree murder, but yet manslaughter.
Mhm.
So if you look at it that way and change your perspective, then you will be able to see offenses differently and not internalize it as something that somebody did to you because of you, or because you're a certain way or a certain kind of person, and yet twist it and say, okay, it wasn't really about me. It's not about me. And that helped me in my professional life. It helped me in my personal life. It enabled me to be able to brush things off, in a millisecond. And if I can use this one quick example, in the nurse exec role, you have departments that work together or should work together, but oftentimes departments that work together by design bump heads. So I was the department head for the nursing department, meaning every patient that comes in the building, I'm responsible for their care. But the admissions department would admit the residents, the patients. So they will oftentimes admit people that I felt like, they shouldn't even be here. Like, they're not ready to come here. And once they're there, they're my responsibility. So we used to get in tiffs. But as soon as I read that book and I internalized and I received that concept, I realized that they weren't trying to destroy the nursing department. They weren't trying to piss me off every day when we got train wreck of patients. It was that they had quotas. They had quotas. And once they came in the building, that was a mark for their week. So, it was the best advice I ever had was to how to basically differentiate between, what an offense really is, and learn how not to internalize it, meaning keep myself intact, although I can experience the blow, but I can brush it off real quick.
A lot of people need that advice.
Yes. Yeah.
So death still occurs, either by manslaughter or first degree murder, but were you a casualty or were you the target?
Right. Okay. Shanika, Amir.
Oh, okay. I thought Shanika was itching to go. So I'll go ahead. For me, it has to do with career choice and whatnot. I think, there's a couple pieces of gems here or there that I got. Number one, I thought that whatever you chose to do with your life around college time, that's what you had to do for the rest of your life. I don't know where I got that from, but I'll never forget going into campus and I was like, well, I'm afraid to choose my major because I don't want to be stuck. And then this man looked at me and was all like, stuck? I'm all like, well, you choose a major and you just, then you end up doing something you don't like. And he's like, you could just quit. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, okay. He's like, there's a few professions where you can't do that. If you study to be a surgeon and you go all the way through the process and get to a surgeon, you could still quit, but you've gone through 12 years to get to that point. So
Right.
at that point, you better have been committed.
Mm-hmm.
But he's all like, if you get a degree, it opens up the options to everything. And that kind of goes for a lot of things. So when it comes to my writing, when I write, I used to write all kinds of short stories that I never finished. Then I heard the advice, you have to finish it first and then go back and edit later. You can't do it both at the same time. You can't edit and write at the same time. And it's kind of the same thing. Like, you're so worried about having that perfect product at the end that you never finish it. Whereas if you had been just focused on getting it done, then you can go, all right, here's my mistakes, and you try again in the future.
Yeah.
So I think that those to me were some of my best advice, like to help me move forward and stop being a perfectionist.
Right. Good.
All right, that was good, because I'm always thinking that I'm a perfectionist, and I'm glad that you just said that, because that was another confirmation for me. Because I think sometimes when I write, I can't get through things because I'm trying to edit, write, think, process all of these things at one time, and it's like, just write. And once you get it all on paper, then you can go back and redo and edit and all this. That's why it's an edit button. That's why it's a backspace button. That's why it's a whatever, or you can go back in there and do that. But I have a couple of, well, more than a couple, like 3. I know you said 1, but hey, why not? So one of them is one that I've been really practicing here lately, or I have been thinking about. It just keeps coming back to me, and that is showing up more for myself than I do for others, because I have a tendency to show up for people a lot, and then I fall by the wayside, and then I'm frustrated and upset because I show up for people, but then when I'm expecting for it to be reciprocated, it is not. So if I show up more for myself, and then I won't be so frustrated at getting the things done that I want to get done, instead of when I give advice to people, or when I share things with people and they don't follow through, or they don't do what I'm saying, or do whatever, it's like, it doesn't matter, because you showed up for yourself and you put those things into action. The other thing is, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. That was like the one of the best things too for me. It was like so for me, it's just like, yeah, definitely. If you stand for nothing, you'll definitely fall for anything. So for me, it's just like, what do you stand for? I always ask myself, what I stand for. And when you do make a stance, stand on it. Like, if that's what you said, or that's what you did, or that's how it happened, or whatever, stand on that. Like, don't waver on what you said, and don't be afraid to be like, yeah, I said that, and that's, yeah. I mean, you might not like it, but I did that, I said that, and that's why with apologies, apologies are not good for me. Like, I trust and believe, when I said what I said, I thought about it. I said it, I thought about it. And I'm not apologizing. I'm not sorry about it. I meant it. Now, if your feelings got hurt in the process, I may be sorry because your feelings got hurt, but I'm not sorry because of what I said, because I meant that.
Well, also, you're open to criticism, and it might change your mind in the future depending on the argument they make. But it shouldn't just be whatever they say, you go for it. And there's a pattern. Sometimes there's people out there who post all kinds of nonsense on Facebook, and as soon as somebody challenges them in the comments, well, I mean, yeah, I didn't mean it like that, or they cop out all of a sudden. Oh, well, I didn't read it, I just shared it. And you're like, then at that point,
Right.
you've ruined your integrity. If you don't stand on it,
Mm-hmm.
you ruin your integrity.
Right.
Even if it is wrong, you have to at least defend yourself.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
until you're like, you know what? Actually, now with new information, I've changed my mind. But you can't just go like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. You gotta say what you mean.
Right. And then I think the best advice that I constantly give, the best advice that I think that I constantly give to people is like, if there's a situation and you can change it, change it. I mean, I tell Asia this all the time, but if there's nothing you can do about it, don't waste a whole bunch of time thinking about it. Because if you can't change it, you spend time on something that you can't change. Worry about the things that you can change and make a difference in. If you can't, then keep it moving. And it's really funny, because when she says that to people look at her and are like, you just don't care. You don't have no heart. And she's like, no, it's not that. She's like, but I don't have time to focus on the things I can't change.
Right.
So that's just kind of, that's where I am with that. So
okay, good.
All those are great.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize Shanika would throw in the best advice that she gives. How y'all felt about that? Chanel, you got any advice that you need to give us?
One monkey don't stop no show, baby. One monkey don't stop no show.
I like that one. Mm-hmm.
What about a smack?
Oh. We're getting started on the smack. A lot of updates on the smack.
Amir has talent. I'm telling you.
Just had to bring that full circle.
Oh, yeah.
Woo!
Who's next?
All right. Well, I didn't even know if I want to. Okay. So anyway, we're okay. All right. So that was good, guys. Good.
Good.
All right.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Huh?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, go ahead.
Oh, well, my next topic, I think is about, I don't know how to pronounce her name, guys. I know that sounds bad and I don't want to mispronounce it.
What did she do?
The judge. I wanted to talk about, okay, well, it wasn't even really about her. It was a picture of her that I had sent y'all. But basically, my question to you all is, well, the article was the New York Post had posted, and it basically was saying, okay, let me see if I can find it in the Facebook. So basically, it was the article was about, y'all was supposed to give me a minute. Okay. I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place. It was basically talking about how Black women are marrying outside of their race. And so when I went in and read the article, it was like, why more Black women should consider marrying white men. So I had went in and read the article a little bit, and it was kind of giving a breakdown on why Black women should consider marrying white men. And basically, the gentleman made the case that, I don't really know if I have a question. I just want to know really how people feel about it, really. Yes. How do you pronounce her name?
Ketanji.
Okay. And so basically, people were just like, well, Black women, instead of marrying out their race, they end up just not getting married at all because they don't want the backlash of not marrying somebody Black. So they just either stay single or marry down instead of dating outside of their race. So I guess maybe my question is, do you all find that is true on why women or Black women choose not to marry outside of their race? Or do you think that's not even true at all, that there are Black women who, like, the numbers are raising? Because in the article, it also said that there's more Black men who date outside of their race and don't really care about the ridicule that they may get about dating outside their race, and whereas Black women care more, and so they either choose to stay single or don't date at their highest potential, I guess.
Man, I've seen countless think pieces on this topic.
Well, I can speak for myself, being single and in my 40s. I'll date a white man. I have not been in a relationship with a white man before, but I'm not opposed to it. And if I date one, I will certainly marry one if he's the soulmate, thing. I'm not. No, I don't care, and I certainly don't care about what people think about it. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think? Okay, because it bothers me when people are like, I don't see color, but do you? Is that a thing for you? I mean, are you marrying the man? Are you marrying the white man? Are you marrying, are you just marrying this man? You know what I'm saying?
I find it kind of weird when people try to not put the white on it. I mean, he's a white man. I mean, I'm saying he would be a white man. I mean, well, why he gotta be white? He's a white man. I don't understand why people make it so weird, whether it's even, or a Black woman, or he's married to a Black woman. Why she gotta be Black? Why he just can't say she married? She's a Black woman. I just don't understand why people make that. I don't understand why people make that so weird. But if somebody said, "Oh, Chanel, if I get married to a white man," and somebody said, "Oh, she married a white man," I'm fine with that. He a man. He's a white man. He's married to a Black woman.
Yeah. I mean,
So
to me, I could speak to it being weird because it was illegal, you know, like, you know, in the last century, it was illegal to marry interracially. So I feel like no matter what, interracial dating is still kind of weird. In the same way with homosexual being allowed to marry, is people are still acting funny about it, even though it's like this shouldn't be weird, but people act weird about those things. And I think for me, when it comes to, I think Black women have more to worry about, not because of necessarily the negative connotations, because they don't date outside of their race as much, but because they're already at the bottom of the totem pole. So, for example, a white woman marrying a Black man, you know, everyone kind of already has their ideas, but typically beyond in her own family, her status is just kind of there. Like, it's just, she's still a white woman, she's still caring. But if a Black woman marries a white man, her status doesn't change. She's a Black woman. She's still at the bottom of the totem pole. You know, people might be surprised, but it's really that white man status. Suddenly people are questioning him and what he's doing. And, you know, he's the one who has to go through a lot. Whereas, like, you know, maybe at the end of the day, a few Black people might turn sideways, like, you dating a white guy. But most of the time I just see Black women who are dating white men. They're just complaining about weird things white men do, but they're not saying anything bad about them. They just, I think I saw a whole Facebook group where it's like, my Chad said this. Should I be worried? And I busted out loud. I'm like, there's a whole group for Black women who date white men, and they call them Chads.
Let me go in that group. Maybe one of them got a brother.
All right, let's read some of these comments. Tiffany says, I'm not opposed to any race or what others think. He got me, I got him. Kathy says, I think it is just a comfort level for each person. My niece is married to a white man. They dated since she was in high school. Fabian says, in interracial relationships in general, all that matters is if the couple is happy and the person is downplaying their race, and that's the reason they chose another race. There was a story the other day about a Black woman who was married to a white man that wouldn't stop calling her the N-word when they were intimate. Either way, you gotta make sure they are the right person and aren't racist, of course. Kathy then says, I dated a white man back in the day. Nowadays, it's just who I'm comfortable with. You know, and I think that all races have issues with them. I don't think that any race, I mean, I made a comment on a post the other day some dude made, and he was like, this is why y'all wonder why Black dudes date white women. And I had to put up there, I said, listen, if you like white women, just say you like white women. Don't be up here trying to
bash the whole
right. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
If you like white women, that's on you. But like, don't be trying to say, you know, because it was about the whole, he was basically talking about the Will Smith and Jada thing. Like, you know, like that's why Black men date white women. And I was like, let's be clear. All women, all white, Black, Asian, whatever, they all got some type of issues, you know, and
it's not because of the color of their skin, right?
Exactly.
And I mean, that's what Fabian's talking about, is like, as long as you're not dating somebody who hates you, right? I mean, and people act like that, like, oh, well, he's dating me, so he can't be racist. And it's all like, really? He can't?
Right.
You don't think he might have a fetish?
You can't call me an N-word and be my husband. What in the world?
You can't call me a slut, a hoe, a bitch. You can't call me none of that. You can't call me, if you ain't calling me sugar, honey, ladybug,
chocolate rock, something.
Now, Will, I did see a think piece about in the gay community that there's some people had issues with the amount of interracial dating. Have you heard anything about that?
No, I mean, no. Most of all of my friends and my inner circle is Black on Black, but I mean, we're used to that. So I don't think there are any raised eyebrows when you see an interracial couple at all. At least not with the people I hang out with in the places that I frequent. It's not an issue anymore. Now, I do think when I was just hearing you guys talk, in my mind visually, I don't know if it's a thing or not, but when you were talking about when Black guys date white women, to me, I've always associated that, and it's not my own personal thoughts, it's just what I just feel is associated with some type of a level up. In that when you see a white guy dating a Black woman, is he downgraded, or he's getting subpar material or person or whatever. And I know in the gay community, you just dating a white guy.
I think there's some validity to that concept. I don't agree with it, but I'm saying I've heard that before.
Yeah.
I've heard that before, and that just goes to show you. Well, the way it was explained was that how the difference between a black woman and a white woman, come on now. Historically, it's from a society standpoint, white women are better than black women. I mean, I'm talking about,
What they
Right, the perception.
Right. So I've heard that argument before, that when black men go to white women, it appears to be that they have an elevated status, and white men look as though they have stepped down. Yeah, I've heard that. I don't agree.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. So, for example, I've witnessed an argument where they were telling, like, a lot of black guys were saying that they were making the white woman's life better, and this white lady said, "No, like, our lives don't improve. It's like you guys may think that you're getting some kind of status update, but meanwhile, our whole family's talking shit about us, saying that we like black guys." And I was like, man, like, that's really realistic. And I'm like, they've deluded themselves into this idea that they've gotten a trophy, some lady that is treating them better than a black woman could. And in reality,
they think that. They really
just doing
think
regular stuff. Like, I mean, okay, you got some unseasoned chicken. It's nice that she cooked for you, though, right? And it's like you dated one black woman who didn't cook, and now you're like, yeah, see, this is why I got a white, like, huh? I mean, like, that's a delusion. Like, you haven't dated every black woman, first off, but also to put black woman into a category of like undateable is
right.
I mean, it's insanity to me. It's insanity.
I mean, and which brings us to our next topic about the young lady who stole $40 million from Yale's financial, what was she, in the medical department? And she's white and her black. So,
yeah, I mean, she's definitely.
At some point he thought he was getting an upgrade. Huh?
Yeah, he probably did. I mean, I would have thought I had an upgrade if she was paying for
iPads. Yeah.
Well, they got to seize and sell everything they have.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Goodness.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to figure out $40 million. How in the world?
Yes. So she's our $40 million thief of the week, who stole this money from the medical department at Yale University, and she bought, they said, thousands of laptops and
Chromebooks, iPads,
free homes, vehicles, and all of that.
Yep.
Okay, I still haven't. Did anybody say how she got caught? Because this started in like 10 years ago.
Yes, well, it started with her taxes. Like, she wasn't found on taxes, and I think they probably were watching her. They probably were watching her, and they did an investigation. They probably just let it build up, and they got her ass for $40 million. I'm like, lady. Woo.
And he's standing there with them fatigues on.
Right.
Okay, so she sold the stuff that she bought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. She had a scheme. It was a scheme.
Dang.
But actually it was a third party. She was going through a third party to sell the items for her.
Mm-hmm.
But
she could buy stuff she could buy stuff directly without any type of approval, as long as it was under $10,000. Yeah.
But my question is this: they didn't know that these items weren't going to the school because they was being delivered to school.
Look, I don't know, man. I mean, sometimes she probably smiled. She knew people. She'd been working there for longer than a decade at that rate. She probably knew exactly who to talk to. Probably, flirted with one of the people at the tech department. However, she got to that point where they were just trusting her.
Right.
Because you can't
see what greed do. See what greed do.
Maybe she cut people a deal, but I don't even think she had.
I mean, we might. I ain't saying we don't. I mean, I'm not saying, but we're not taking $40 million. I mean, we're not. I mean, are you taking $40 million?
No, ma'am.
You taking $40 million? I mean, we might take a stapler. Like.
No, a pack of
But
paper.
you'd get
No,
15
like
years in
a
jail.
pack of printer paper, maybe. Printer
Right,
paper.
print paper, but I don't think
You know, you
we-
printed too many pages. You go into jail now.
I know.
There's somebody in the corner talking about what department do you work in? Why are you over here using this? Like, how many papers did you print off? You know, it's always like,
One of our chat guests said white privilege is real, and I'm gonna tell you why. How does she have that much buying power as an individual at Yale without anybody signing off on that?
right.
Wasn't she a department head?
Yeah.
She was an administrator of some kind, but she wasn't the department head.
Yeah, I thought she was just over the finances.
Yeah, she was over the fight. What I'm saying.
Whatever.
So basically, she can stroke a $9,999.99 check, and nobody has to sign off on that.
Right, and knew that
Right.
she could.
And
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we might do a highlighter and be like, oh, I accidentally took, you know what I'm saying? We ain't doing that. We ain't $40 million.
Right. I mean,
Well,
you know,
that's what she
we're
did.
getting caught up over one laptop. You know, one work laptop. The mouse pad goes missing.
Right.
You say,
know,
nobody
like-
got terminated from my job from stealing an umbrella. Okay, an umbrella.
Oh no, for real? Not the umbrella.
Umbrella.
Wow. That sounds like something that would happen at Disney World. We see that you left with a Disney World, you know, a Mickey Mouse jumpsuit for the rain. We saw you left the park.
You know, it's that
we're gonna have to
corporate
let
code
you
of
go.
conduct. Corporate code of conduct.
Yeah, we're gonna have to let you go.
Right.
There.
Right.
But I just don't understand how she has that much buying power. That's why I go back to our chat viewer comment, white privilege, because I just
So why didn't this go viral, right? Why didn't it? Because when that guy at Howard, he stole, I think, 40,000, maybe it was 400,000. I'll give it like, you know, another zero from the school. And that thing viral, they had memes. They showed pictures of him at his photo shoot, talking about how could he take from this school. And I'm all like, man, they ain't say nothing about this. The article I
and it's
shared
40
with y'all
million,
was 5 days
40
ago.
million.
Yeah. So I mean 40 million and we ain't heard nothing. Yale is mom. I mean, I'm sure there's something. They handle their business silently. They're like, no one's gonna know about this. I mean, it's there, but you know, I guess the Will Smith smack was harder than $40 million out of their pocket.
Right.
Or maybe they just have so much money that 40 million was chump change.
Right. Right.
Mm.
How many years did they say? Like over a 4 years?
It started 10 years ago.
A decade.
Oh yeah.
And that's just what she admitted to.
Right.
Wow. Well, talking about admitting to things. So this was on our local news. So if anyone happens to have Norfolk or Virginia Beach local news, there was an incident that happened, I want to say about a week ago, with this guy. His name is Cola Bill. So if you want to check out the story or whatnot, and it was some fires that happened, and he had a fire, and once he was arrested, he had killed 3 people. And then he kind of went on the run. But it's a very chilling confession that he did. And his thing was when he was interviewed by, oh, wow. Okay. When he was interviewed, you have to really go check it out. I mean, if you want to hear it, but it was very chilling to me. It was, Yale's endowment is 42.3 million. This low. Wow. Okay, so basically he admitted to killing his girlfriend, killing his father figure, and killing his cousin. I mean, and he gives an account of all of it. And basically he was saying that, you know, it boiled down to like people say that they check on you, but then they really don't check on you. And so he basically was like, that's why, you know, in a sense, that's really why he killed her, because people claim they check on you and they don't. And he was like, the reason why I burnt down the house is because her parents pulled up in front of the house but never went in the house. And he was like, basically, you know, she had been deceased the day prior. And on Wednesday, the mom came to the house. She didn't go in the house. She called and then she pulled off, and on Thursday he burnt the house down. And I'm saying that because he was like, you need check, somebody should check on her. So how often are you like,
It's
okay,
not
when
funny.
people are in questionable relationships or just people in general, people who even maybe like, do you check on people? Do y'all regularly check on people or not really?
I mean, I think it depends on the relationship, honestly. I mean, I think his reasoning saying they didn't check on, I think it's BS because at the end of the day, how many times them checking on her would that have stopped him from burning her house down? No.
Well,
With
he
her
said
dead
basically
body.
what he said was, had she went in the house on Wednesday, she would have known that she was deceased, and the house wouldn't have been burnt down because they would have known that she was deceased. Because the person who was interviewing him said, "Well, what difference does it make? Because she was already deceased." He was like, "Yeah, but the house wouldn't have been burnt down because they would have found her body." And I was, just, I mean, like y'all, it was just chilling. Like I was
But
just
she was
stunned.
still dead. That's what
But
I
right,
mean.
Well, first of all, he
but,
had
you know,
mental
in
health
his mind, he
issues.
was trying to make sense of it, you know. But he was just like,
Yes.
"For your people," you know.
Right.
And it was just, I mean, and I'm not saying, I'm just saying that it was very chilling. It was
It
very,
was
it was
Right.
very his
his account, yeah.
confession
Yeah.
was just,
All I'm saying is you can't blame those people for not checking in.
no, not at all,
Because,
not at
yeah,
all,
that's
not
all.
at all. But I'm
Okay.
just like
Yeah.
that's what just kept going through my head. I'm like, but you like, and then he was like, I mean, like he was just so like straight faced with it and was like, you know, yeah. And then, you know, yeah, then I took her as a hostage. I had a hostage, and the only reason why it wasn't a shootout was because I looked out the window and saw two kids playing soccer, and that's the only reason why. But I wasn't on the run. I was chilling. I found the 20 minutes. Y'all, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. It's just none at all. He said he didn't have no remorse. The lady asked him 3 times, and he was like, "No, I don't have no remorse." And
Yeah,
I mean,
I think he actually he has to have a disorder because
Mhm.
you know I've seen when people are trying to plead insanity, you know, they tend to fake it, but then they're like, nah, like, you know, when you tell the story like that, that's where it's like, oh,
they asked him in that interview. They said, "Are you ready to accept whatever happened to you?" He was like, "Yeah, my life is over." Like you know, he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm ready to accept whatever it is." Like I knew that. I had already killed people. Like I knew that. Yes, yes. Rosalind says his biological father killed his wife because they asked him about that, and he was like, "Yes." He was like, "He tried to kill my mother, but she survived."
dang. But she
So,
died. Okay,
well,
I'm confused.
no, his first wife. So his mother, the guy who did he at 6 months old, he said his father shot his mother, his biological mother, the boy, the guy who did the killing, but she didn't die, she survived. But his second wife, he killed her. Yes.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh, so it's genetic.
Yeah, because he talked about his son in that interview. He said, "I hope my son is better than me." I'm all like,
Oh yeah.
oh.
Let me see. I don't know how to. Okay, so I don't know how to put a link in.
I mean,
This is his name. This is his name. I'm gonna put his name. I really don't want to, but this is his name right here. So just look it up because it'll come up.
Yeah, I mean the news, it went pretty far because there was a manhunt for him.
But he said he wasn't hiding. He said he was not hiding. He was in Hampton in an Airbnb. That's where they found him.
Yeah.
Well, if you in an Airbnb, you hadn't, because that's not your address.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, you know what I'm saying.
He said he took the girl. He took his cousin's girlfriend. Like it was just crazy. He took the cousin's girlfriend as a hostage. And like and then he was like, when he was like, the father, y'all just have to see, like it was just like so, like I just couldn't believe it. Like I just couldn't believe it.
I agree. You know, I was dumbfounded watching it because it's something that you hear on Dateline, ABC, and it was happening right.
Dramatic.
Yeah, I think we might hear about this. They might do a Dateline story something one day.
Because when they do it on those kind of stories, they make it dramatic. They got the music, you know, it's all like, yeah, I killed her. Then it's like, boom, boom, you know, and his family never saw her again. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. But like when you see the confession straight up, and they're just like, yeah, you know, I took him behind the back of the store and I slit his throat. And I was like, oh man, I got blood on me, so I know they're gonna catch me. You're like, whoa, like, are you sad about it? And he's like, no, I knew once I killed him, it was the enemy. And you're like, oh no, like, you know, they don't have any remorse. Like, they need to be put away. Like, they're not okay.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, the people who like fake insanity because they think it's gonna get them some kind of easier sentence, you know, they're over there screaming and yelling and talking about the devil. And the cops are like, yeah, okay, like, you know, you're not crazy. Like, you just did something horrible. You're trying to get out of it. You know, because crazy people are so like they're unbelievable when they admit it. Like it's uncanny because you're like, is he like what? Like it's stone cold, you know, just telling you exactly what happened. That's what I saw.
I mean, like it was horrible, but you know, anyway. But it's just, I mean, check on your people. Just check on your people. Just check on. That's all. I mean, I've said that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, clearly, if they would have checked on her on Wednesday, they would have found her dead. You know, same thing. You know, burning the body. She's gone. You know, it's horrible.
Right.
I know, Will. You said you
Will,
had
go
something,
ahead.
but we had the.
No, I'll do that next week. I'm putting the information in the group for the lady who asked for the link. It's inside the Facebook group now for you.
Okay.
All right, you guys.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Good show, y'all. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for watching. You know, Unscripted, Unfiltered, Uncut. We'll be back next week with even more juicy topics and hopefully the first Black woman elected to the Supreme Court by the end of this week.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
Yeah. This is the week they're supposed to finish everything?
Yeah, so they just voted through for her to go to the next final vote, but I mean, you know, they're going to push it as long as they can.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Disgusting and ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well,
No problem.
stay tuned.
Yeah. All right. So
All
we'll see you next week then.
See you. Good night, everybody.
Yes, bye.